Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Mina, your favorite Pisces astrologer, back with a video about a really big transit that all of us Pisces people have been going through. Saturn in Pisces. Whoa, it's been a ride and a not so fun one. So this is why I really wanted to make this video, so we can kind of have a space as Pisces people to just talk about what happened, to validate what happened to you, and hopefully in the comments we can inspire each other to take the wisdom that we gained from this period, because we did gain wisdom from this period, and that's something you can feel good about. I also want to talk about transit Neptune in Pisces, which has been very interesting. So yeah, these are two bad boy outer planets, like malefic planets. So this has been just a very difficult time to be a Pisces. Saturn in Pisces started in March 2023, and Neptune in Pisces started in April 2011. So that's been a 14-year transit. And they recently, I think came together in a conjunction, and it's like, oh, it's been intense for us, right? So this video is for you if you have major Pisces placements in your chart, and have been experiencing this transit and want to understand it better. Also for you, if maybe you're not a Pisces person, but you have mutable signs in your chart, you would be affected by this too. Or maybe you were affected by this transit because if you have a birth chart, which we all do, it's going to be in one of those houses, and it's going to be affecting the environment of that house. So this video has a little bit for everyone, and I will be adding like my personal experiences with both of these bad boys, just in the name of helping the Pisces collective right now. So let's start with Neptune. Wow. So Neptune, again, started in April 2011. So let's start with the good, right? Because Neptune can have like a really bad reputation as an outer planet because it's tied to being, bad levels of Delulu. And I think some people link it to addiction and just being kind of like spaced out from reality. But the good parts of Neptune, I've discovered over this long transit, is definitely like enhanced creativity. Also, just enhanced psychic ability. All of us Pisces people, we have a little something something, right? Like we have these extra senses that we can't explain that come from somewhere, these downloads. We just know stuff and we don't know why. That probably got majorly amped up for you, got more intense in this Neptune transit, with it being in the sign of Pisces. So if you've been feeling like a little bit extra tuned in to the woo-woo Pisces stuff from beyond, things we can't explain, this is probably why. And also if you felt like an extra urge to be like super creative, like maybe you have an office job and you really, even if you're not going to quit it, because legit this economy is awful right now, in the States, maybe you just want to add something like a hobby or a side hustle that involves creativity. So if that resonates with you, this could be why. Another thing that I actually used to be scared about with Neptune is its shapelessness, like its fluidity, its ephemeral nature. I think it was so beneficial, at least in my experience, because it really gave you an opportunity to reshape things, especially dependent on the house it's in. But if we just look at the general like theme of Pisces, like it being the last sign in the zodiac wheel, it has to do with endings and death. Scorpio is not the only sign associated with death. Pisces is too, which is why they have like a really deep bond together as friends, family, and lovers. But yeah, I think that this has offered an opportunity, and Pisces is also associated with spiritual stuff like God. Not like Sagittarius, which is a little bit more organized religion. Pisces is more like just the energy of God. I don't know how else to say it. So this has been a very beneficial time I think, for all of us Pisces to reshape our belief systems. And just to mention Saturn briefly, Saturn is about structure, and Neptune dissolves, and that's why it can reshape things. So if you've had like outdated religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs, if you've undergone like a major spiritual transformation during this time of the transits, this is probably why, like, Neptune reshaped your belief in God, or just your belief in spiritual things, right? And I really have benefited from that, because your favorite Pisces astrologer was like a pretty rabid atheist for most of my 20s. And if you're an atheist and you're watching my channel, I hope I don't really mean any disrespect. Just for me, being an atheist, it wasn't good for me personally. So this transit has been a very long road for me to be at peace with God again, and to have a relationship with God again in a really deep, meaningful way that I can be okay with. It's brought me so much peace. So if you're like me and you've experienced that, like, I'm just so happy for you. Like, Neptune is very good in this regard for us. I think it also has, well, it's enhanced paranormal stuff, at least it has for me. It scared me in the beginning, though, not gonna lie, because I had this really big fear of places associated with death, like hospitals and graveyards, stuff like that, from when I was 6 years old, because my grandma dying, it kind of just freaked me out, because, like, I went to her funeral and I touched her body in the coffin and it felt like a rock. And I just remember the smell. It scared me so much. Plus, I loved her like more than anything, and I still do to this day. Like, she fit a lot of love into those 6 years. She's a Scorpio moon, so go figure. But it made me just terrified of anything associated with death in that way. And actually, when Neptune entered Pisces around that year is when I actually went to visit her grave, which is a big deal for me, because I would just sit in the car. Every time my family would go to the graveyard, I'd be like, no, I don't want anything to do with it, because it was just so much fear. I guess I have to mention Saturn again. It's like, with Neptune involved, it can be dissolving fears about death, and maybe fears about, the next step, the afterlife. I can say that, yeah, that has made a big difference for me. It's been a long road to just be very comfortable in those spaces. And now it's like I'm totally chill going to those places that I used to be terrified about. But the bad part of Neptune, of course, is the delusion. So maybe a lot of us Pisces people have had, like, we love a fantasy, right? We've had fantasies that maybe we've held on to too much, and it started to maybe hurt us in our progress in life, and of course clouded our judgment. So we've had to let go of such fantasies, maybe fantasies we saw in other people, fantasies we saw in situations, whatever it was. So if you felt like you've kind of had some bad fantasies that are draining your energies that you've had to let go of, this might be why. I think that, but yeah, I can't overstate enough, the creativity has been amazing, right? From Neptune and Pisces. Another thing that's probably like a little bit of good and bad is just like feeling like even more of a Pisces than you already are, like extra sensitive to people's feelings and your feelings and situations, like a Pisces on 10, right? Like the volume turned all the way up. It made us, like, I think, really intense with all of our already there qualities. So it made us even extra sensitive, right? Which at times has been just not fun. Like, right now, I'm so sad about all the ICE stuff. Like, I can't believe this is happening in our country. It just breaks my heart. Like, how could you mess with kids? Like, tearing families apart. Like, whew, this is like a trying time to be this sensitive, right? Especially sensitive to like human suffering, like us Pisces are. I think with Neptune, maybe another bad thing this transit has done is maybe made us more secluded. And isolating because it's like we want to keep our little Neptune bubble, like keeping reality away a little too far. Escapism tendencies could have been amped up in these 14 years, especially if it's like hitting a personal planet, right? So you might want to review these 14 years like at astro.com with your chart, just see like, hey, like when was this like really bad? So yeah, that is kind of what I think about Neptune, is like all of that stuff, plus it gave us like, I can't overstate it enough, like abilities, I think, to reach the other side more than usual. Because I bet a lot of Pisces people are mediums and stuff like that, because I do believe in stuff like that, you know. But let's talk about Saturn now. Let's get to the hard stuff. That was hard too, but you know what I'm saying. Saturn is, whew, honestly, as someone who went through her Saturn return a while ago, this was harder. Like having Saturn in Pisces on my sun, not good. So I think with Saturn, you gotta have to talk about the bad stuff first. So I think for whatever reason, whenever I would read books about Saturn and Pisces and by amazingly intelligent astrologers, and just, I have to be honest, like, and watch videos, none of it prepared me for what I was going to experience. And I think it's because Pisces things in general are just so hard to pin down. It, like, even doing this video, I'm just like, I have to go through a lot of fog to remember what I'm going to say. Because that's how Pisces is. It's like, it almost doesn't want to be understood. So even when you're talking about it, you're like, huh, what? In other words, it's just hard to understand. And I've had a lot of 1996 babies get readings from me recently, and just thinking of what I went through and hearing their stories about their Saturn return, this is the only conclusion I can say for sure, is that transit Saturn in Pisces is a global attack on your life. Like, none of the books say this, but someone has to say it. Like, your life will be set on fire. And it's just a lot of suffering. And I think the worst part of it is the self-doubt. I think when you think of the most positive stuff about Pisces, it's like this strong faith in the universe, faith in yourself, belief. That's more Jupiter. Faith is more Neptune, I guess. But it's like a belief and faith in yourself. And Saturn has been challenging that for us Pisces people, especially with the suns, because the sun is like a big part of who we are. So it's like Saturn just like made you doubt yourself, and it stripped away your identity and forced you to rebuild it. And it was like, it was an ego death, a big ego death, and it felt just so vulnerable, so vulnerable. And you had to just, you know, if you think about Pisces being the last sign and Aries being the baby, you know, that follows, it restarts the wheel. It's like we've been in the womb and we've just had to relearn everything. That's how I felt like. I thought I knew stuff, but no, I don't know anything. Life has taught me I don't know anything. And now I have to restructure my identity, and I have to relearn everything, like I'm learning to walk again. It's been like a rebirth. But you know, with Pisces, it's such a, since it's ruled by Jupiter, you suffer, you do, but you come out of it happier because you're wiser. And I think, you know, Saturn makes things more real. It's a good break from fantasy, but you know, us Pisces people, we cling to fantasy. So when Saturn just ripped away like all of our favorite fantasies and made us second guess ourselves, made us look really hard at ourselves, yeah, we had to rebuild everything. But I know for sure we're stronger people, more rooted in reality. We're more serious. Saturn makes things more serious. It just wasn't a fun process. But me personally, because I like to see the positive in things, I've never felt more myself. Like, I was ripped to shreds, but the person I am that I've rebuilt with hard work and introspection is just so much better, so much more peaceful. And I really, really hope I see people in the comments, like my Pisces people, echoing that sentiment. And it's okay, like if you don't feel it right now, keep in mind we're just coming out of this and we're not officially out of it until Valentine's Day. Because Neptune's in Aries, but we still are stuck with Saturn until Valentine's Day or the day before Valentine's Day. So, yeah, just give it some time and think Jupiter is about wisdom. That's, we have a Jupiter ruled transit, and it really does want us to be wiser because it will bring us to a higher level of happiness. I'm very sure of that. And when we're wiser, we can help others better. There's just no way around it. And I'm very grateful for that because I love helping you guys through astrology. So that's kind of the hard stuff. I think also realizing, all the books will tell you, and they're right about this, like Saturn and Pisces is going to make you have boundaries. Like it's going to force you to through a lot of pain. And we all know that about Pisces. Like, we read the books, we watch the YouTube videos. I've said it myself, and it's correct. We need boundaries because we are a sign with no boundaries naturally. And I really think that's why Venus is exalted in Pisces, because it's like no boundaries love. It's unconditional love type vibes. But I think not many astrologers go, like, what's underneath that desire to not have boundaries? And for me, what I've come to the conclusion of, it's wanting to be limitless. Like, and I think limitless is like freedom for us. Yet Saturn in Pisces has forced us to understand that we need limits. And oddly enough, I think it's done it to us through showing the physical effects of having no boundaries. I especially can confirm that in my case. Like, I don't know if I've said this on the channel before, but I am someone who's been clinically depressed since I was 6 years old. So emotional consequences, like, sure, they hurt because I'm a sensitive, watery person, but I usually have this mentality like, oh, I'm already depressed, I'm already sad, so what's another punch? What's another hit? What's another hit? So the emotional consequences didn't really get me to have boundaries, more so than the physical. Like, I had a day during this transit, right, where I was so stressed, being my boundaryless Pisces self, unconditional love vibes, taking the punches, and I actually felt like my chest tighten and like signs like I was gonna have a heart attack. And it's the only thing that's made me stop in my tracks and be like, okay, if I don't change, if I don't protect myself better, I will die an early death just like my parents. And I had to restructure a lot of stuff. But it was really hard because I do think Saturn and Pisces will. The reason why I say it's a global attack, besides it like lighting every part of your life on fire, is it really forces you to accept all the endings you've had in your life up until this point, whether that be job losses, friendship losses, lost dreams, lost lovers, lost spouses. I mean, every single ending, I feel like we as Pisces people, we've been forced to accept it, and with Neptune's help, like, to really be at peace and just let it go, like surrender. I think these two bad boy transiting planets in Pisces has been like change and surrender, or your suffering will not stop past this transit's in. Like, so I really do think, like, it's brought me so much peace. I have a Cancer moon, so it's really hard for me to accept endings, but for the first time in my life, I think I accept it. It might make me sad, but everything that's ended in my life, like, I understand and I hold no ill will towards those endings. And honestly, with Neptune healing my relationship with God, paired with that, it's just been a lot of suffering, but so much peace at the end of it. Again, I hope it's been this way for you guys. And if you're like me, like if you've lost people you loved, it might be a time where like repressed grief that you've held inside just comes out like a flood with these two planets. And I think it's so overwhelming, but it's a good release. And again, Saturn's going to make you face the reality like of these endings and the pain and all of that. Yeah, so I've been really grateful for that part. Let me know if you've also experienced that in the comments if you're comfortable. Um, I think that also with Saturn and Pisces, one thing I do disagree with the textbooks, they say like, oh, it's a time for you to materialize your dreams. Just for me personally, I give credit to Saturn and Aquarius with that. Like, to me, that was the dream builder Saturn. That's when I made my channel, which was a really big thing for me because, of course, like with the Neptune entering Pisces in 2011, I wanted to do something creative so bad, especially with astrology. I just didn't know how. And it took Saturn moving into Aquarius for me to be like, okay, let's build this. So that's just I don't think Saturn in Pisces is a dream building transit. However, if you have a Taurus rising, it might be for you because it will be in your 11th house, which is associated with Aquarius. So let me know if you've been building your dreams. And if you have Aries in your chart like me, you're not going to be free from Saturn because it's moving into Aries. I probably won't be free of Saturn until I'm dead. But even at that, I'm still so glad this Valentine's Day is going to be over. The day before, I think, the 13th, is going to be over. I'm so glad to get it out of my 12th house. Like, I've learned the lesson, I've gotten wiser. I'm ready for it to be over. Do you feel like that too? Like, it's been what I think about these transits. It's been a ride, huh? So yeah, let me know how this has been for you, my Pisces people, and let's lift each other up in the comments. Let's be like a little community where we're like raising the vibration, right? Because we've been just so drained. So congratulations, you completed something really hard, and I just know in my bones you're stronger. Last thing I'll leave you with is that Saturn and Pisces with Neptune there has taught us that our intuition is not this like little plaything, like a little toy that's cool. It's not a gimmick, it's real. It's real. And I've gotten like real signs that it's there to protect me. And I really hope, my Pisces people, that you believe in your intuition like never before after these hard transits. And yeah, that you respect your body, that you understand you have limits, and just retain all that beautiful creativity from Neptune and that ability to reshape anything, all these outdated beliefs that you don't want to, reshape them, remold them with Neptune's magic. I hope you like this video. Sorry it's a little all over the place. It's my first video back, so it's not going to be perfect. Thank you for listening, and if you had to speed this video up, I totally get it. Take care. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.